Jordan Brand's Reimagined series has given us some good things and some not so good things. But one thing's for sure, it's always controversial, except for today's pair of sneakers. Here we have the box. Definitely no reimagining going on with this thing. Just a regular Jordan 5 box with the black lid, the red Jumpman. So let's pop the top and let me show you what's inside. Of course, we got the classic Jordan 5 plastic, I can't really say paper, whatever you would call this. It's plastic. And the sneakers themselves, the Jordan 5 Black Metallic Reimagined. You also get an extra pair of laces in black, which is not something they typically include with a pair of Jordan 5s, but for this pair, I think it's necessary. Also attached to the sneaker is this little plastic hang tag with the Nike Air branding in a metallic color, so very fitting. But here we have them, guys, the beginning of the end for your wallets here in 2025.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone?
This year has got to be the biggest year for massive Jordan retros and crazy collaborations that are all just slammed in month to month. Now, the Jordan 5 Black Metallic Reimagined seems to be one of the more interesting pairs as part of this series. And that's because I haven't really seen too many people actually mad at this one. The Lord knows for the previous reimaginings on different models, there's been a lot of angry feedback on a lot of those. But of course, before we get into all of that, let's talk about some of the release information for this pair of sneakers. As of right now, these are going to be releasing on February the 8th. Now, fair warning, February is absolutely stacked. Because on top of these releasing, you also have the Jordan 1 High 85 Bred or Band colorway, the black toe ones, potentially the Unions as well, and of course those Kobe All-Star 2.0s. There is a bunch of tough decisions ahead of us for the month of February. The retail is $210, and in terms of how hard these are going to be to buy, well, demand for these things is definitely up there. It's also worth mentioning that here in 2025, Jordan Brand seems to be moving a little bit differently. Over the past year or two, we've seen a lot of crazy retro sneakers and different models all sit on shelves after the release, which in previous years wouldn't have normally been the case. So a big goal for Jordan Brand and Nike in 2025 was to lower the stock and the amount of pairs that they're actually producing in order to have less pairs going to their outlets or selling under retail. So I'm not entirely sure if it's going to directly affect this pair of shoes, but it's certainly going to be something that's the case for some of the other retros this year. So this abundance that we've been enjoying going to the outlets and finding super high heat sneakers and buying pairs under retail might not be the case for the rest of the year, and maybe not even this pair. Either way, as far as the Black Metallic 5s goes, well, this is one of the most, if not the most iconic pair of Jordan 5s out there. Originally releasing back in 1990 and being one of the 4 original colorways that dropped back then, the last retro of this pair was in 2016. They're now back almost a decade later. However, being part of the Reimagined series, you know what that means. They're not exactly the same as the last retro. There's a few differences and changes with this one. But unlike how they've done other OG Reimagines in the past where they've significantly changed something, whether it's the materials or the different aging effects that they've been doing, these for the most part stay pretty true to the originals. In fact, this 2025 pair is inspired by the black metallics that Michael Jordan wore on court. There's a picture of him wearing a pair of black metallic 5s that has this 3M piping or material around some of the suede panels, and of course the white laces. So that's exactly what they decided to do with this sneaker. Now, if the white laces are too much for you, you don't like the change that they make to this sneaker, of course they included the black pair for you to swap them out. That would obviously make them a lot closer to the originals, but in my opinion, I kind of like the way that the 3M makes this pair of shoes look. I also happen to like the white laces as well. It just seems to make this sneaker pop a lot more, and I think it all goes really well with the silver accents on this pair of shoes, like the 3M tongue or the silver spikes on the midsole. Classic iced out outsole is still here to stay. It's very, very prevalent, and I think again just works so well with this colorway. It could be just because this is so iconic that we've all gotten used to the look, or it's just a really great combination of a bunch of different colors. Now, other than the addition of the 3M piping around the suede panels and the white laces, everything else pretty much stays true to the OG. The upper has the exact same soft black nubuck, fully reflective tongue, the red Jumpman Man logo embroidered into the center, the Nike Air branding on the back, this time it's in reflective, and of course the rubber meshing panels on the outside and the inside of the sneaker. When you see these things side by side with the 2016 pair, you can really tell how subtle all of these differences actually are. Now, I'm definitely not saying that the 3M isn't noticeable, and you're not going to notice it, because it definitely is. And that's not just when you hit it with a flash. Like, it's also just very, very noticeable when you're walking around in broad daylight. And of course, even though I really like all of these changes that they've made, some people really don't. But it seems much better received than a lot of the other reimaginings, which makes a lot of sense. I mean, the people who like these changes will like this sneaker, and the people who don't may just be like, well, it's subtle enough, so it's still something that I do really want in my collection. Royal Jordan 1s, for example, were probably one of the most disliked out of this entire series because they completely changed the material from irregular leather to all over rough suede. A lot of people had issues with the various different degrees of aging that they placed on some of these models. The white cements had a lot of the sailed out plastic elements along with the midsole. Lost and Founds had a lot of that cracked leather, which some people kind of like and other people absolutely hated. Black Toe Jordan 1s dropping next month also have their share of criticisms. So could this be the first real perfect reimagining? Maybe. On foot, I think these things look so clean, obviously very easy to style just because of the simple nature of the colorways being predominantly black. They're gonna go with a lot of your different outfits. They're pretty comfortable. As far as Jordans go, these would definitely be kind of on the mid to upper end of my spectrum. Everything before it, from the Jordan 1 to the Jordan 4s, are a lot less comfortable than these. It is definitely a bulkier model. If you've never tried the Jordan 5, it's a substantial pair, especially with the extra padding that they added around the ankle area. It kind of puffs out from the outside, which you can see. So wearing Jordan 5s with shorts, I've always found a little bit challenging. They definitely look a lot better with normal pants, at least in my opinion. But I've definitely seen plenty of other people pull it off and make it look great. In terms of sizing, I went with my true to size, like I always do with Jordan 5s. They fit perfect. If you've never tried a pair, definitely recommend that. However, if you have, just stay with your regular Jordan 5 sizing because there's nothing different with these. And one very interesting thing, like I said at the beginning of the video, we were talking about, you know, crazy calendar for 2025, right? We got a bunch of different insane sneakers, and although whenever we talk about that, we're usually referencing the crazy collaborations and the insane retros that Jordan Brand and Nike are bringing back. But 2025 is going to be a huge year for the Jordan 5 specifically. So yes, this is the first one. I mean, Black Metallics coming back is a pretty big deal. But on top of that, we're also going to be getting two other OG colorways, the Grape 5s and the Fire Red 5s. That is pretty unprecedented for a single year of Jordan releases. Now, on top of that, if you're not into the OGs and you're more into the hype or collaboration sphere, well, we're supposed to be getting an Awake New York collaboration along with Imam and Yer, and that's just some of the big ones. Point is, there's plenty to choose from this year. You can't catch them all. You gotta decide which ones you're gonna delegate your money to. But in my opinion, the Black Metallic 5s, they are definitely on my must-cop list, and I'm super glad to have these things. But of course, I want to know your thoughts down in the comment section. What do you think of the Black Metallic 5 reimagined? Are you going to be going for them? Do you like the changes? Let me know down in the comment section, and if you want to catch another video, all you got to do is click that one right over there.